Okay, we are now live.
Good evening, everybody. If you are tuning in, thank you so much for being here with us for the last 3 days of nonstop action online and in Cape Town. And most of all, during this tumultuous time, this weekend of global change, nearing the end of a crazy year, after lots and lots of time online, lots and lots of time waiting and hoping for things to be perhaps a little easier. I'd just like to thank you all for being here and for making it. Build Up and Bertha Center had numerous weeks over the course of this year of similar uncertainty with regards to this very gathering, with regards to Build Peace 2020. The changes are sometimes tricky to keep up with. Yet we decided to go ahead, and we have all of you to thank for your participation and your presence. So first of all, my thanks are to you. And I'd also like to say on a personal note that it's been an incredible pleasure. It's felt, as Elena, I think, remarked the other day, it has felt connected. It has felt communal. It has felt like a global gathering of friends and people who are willing to work together and support one another in our independent worlds. Also, I'd like to take a moment to just thank how incredible the short talks and the workshops and the variety of contributions from participants around the world have been, that you've been patient with us during some of the technical difficulties, many in fact, and some of the uncertainties that you've had to feel on your side. And some of the other things that need to be mentioned is the incredible anchoring of this conference by our three inspirational and very motivating keynotes, to Medinat, to Emmanuel, to Tami today. Thank you for really three riveting, incredibly impressionable and memorable moments that felt less like keynotes and more like, I don't know, it didn't feel like a keynote. It felt like I was at a, after each one of those sessions, I felt like my world had grown a little bit, and that my understanding of the task ahead and of the context we all play a part of had increased in size, scope, and understanding. So thank you to you all three, and for your time, and to also personally, thank you so much to the Bertha Center team who assisted in supporting this, partnering with Build Up. That has been not the least bit tricky and uncertain across the board over the last few months. So thank you to Kense, thank you to Grant, thank you to Rachel, thank you to Bev, to Kenna, to the variety of Bertha Center friends and family and colleagues, and to the incredible Build Up team who year in, year out make this gathering happen and invite others, partners, friends, networks to come together and increase the size of this beautiful circle. And indeed, we are making this place beautiful. We are making this place beautiful. And so with that in mind, I'd like to hand over, those are just my thanks, and those are just the beginning of many thanks that I have. But I humbly hand over to our wonderful guests on this particular moment during these closing remarks to share some of their takeaways, some of their impressions, thoughts, memories, feelings, and or your own signature closing gift to those listening and those broadcasting in from across the world. So I'd like to hand over, and I'm going to hand over to my dear colleague Kense to set us off with the beginning of those closing reflections, and then if you don't mind handing the baton across to the rest of the people on this call to help ground and close. And we'll post reflections, we'll be forecasting forward into the years ahead. Just like Emmanuel said last year, this year was for figuring out the vision, and next year is about getting it done, and the year after is about making sure that we understand that we're here and that we settle into whatever we've done. Something like that. That's me paraphrasing, but 2021 and 2022, he called it, so we're going to have to call it with him, and that's what we're going to spend the final 20 minutes of this session digesting. But I'll hand over to Kensei now, and if you could pass the baton once you're done with your concluding remarks. Thank you so much, all.
Can everyone introduce themselves as well when they speak, just so that people know who you are? Sorry, Kensei, for you.
Absolutely. I think Kensei may have been trapped in the virtual time-space Axel events discontinuum. So maybe we'll start with with Caleb. Oh, Kensei's back. She's moving. Kensei, can you hear us? Are you with us? I think. Okay, not right now. Okay. Caleb, do you mind kicking us off?
Sure. Can you guys hear me? Okay, great. Okay, sorry, there was a bit of a lag on my side. So
gotcha.
I think Helene was just asking us to introduce. Okay, thanks, Fergus. Sorry, this is a lag on my side. So I'm hearing you, but I'm hearing you a few minutes after. But I definitely that last bit. So I think maybe if I had to sort of like reflect on what these past few days have been like, this is my first Build Peace conference, and working with Fergus, he'd been sort of giving us, background on how he'd experienced his own attendance at his first Build Peace. And I think for me, it's been such an exhilarating journey being on this with you. And I think I emphasize Fergus's points around the team that has been putting this together has been absolutely amazing. Being on the volunteer group on WhatsApp and watching all the different engagements and how everybody's interacting has been really fascinating and brilliant to watch. But again, the talks, the workshops, so much has been learned during these past 3 days, which I really deeply appreciate. But because of COVID-19, I've attended a number of online conferences. And this one for me has been one of the most different ones because of the different connections that I've actually made outside of the platform, whether it's on LinkedIn or on Twitter. And I think that kind of speaks to the work that we're doing in the space and how different it is and the kind of value that it brings to our work. So I think for me, if anything, the big takeaway has just been how critical it is to have the conversations that we're talking. I mean, I'm just thinking about yesterday's talk with Emmanuel and focusing on solutions. But on Friday, I also attended a workshop with Amanda, and we were talking about how to think about fact checking for the average citizen, to think about fact checking if you're spreading misinformation on WhatsApp. And coming into this conference, I didn't necessarily think that those might be some of the conversations we'd be having. So I really deeply appreciated the space, and I appreciate the people and everybody who's participated. It's been absolutely brilliant. I hope you heard that.
Yeah.
We did. Kensei, you want to pass on?
Why don't you on Fergus? I think there's a lag, so maybe you pass it on.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, sure thing. Let's step over to Caleb.
Thank you, Fergus. So for me, this has been an amazing session, and I think for me it was a journey. I felt like I went to Nigeria, I went to Germany, I went to South Africa, I went to outer space with Froke and her team. It was really amazing, and coming full circle, it was just picking elements of people's work along the way and saying, okay, how how can I see this in, in the spaces that I'm in? And I was actually testing out sessions that I felt like, did not align with my work, but I felt like I actually got away learning a lot. And I remember the beginning of the conference, Helena talked about making this space beautiful. And for me, it has been beautiful. I've been in spaces where, you hear what people are doing, where, how they've implemented their work. And you're thinking, this is just beautiful in the way they've done it, in the way they've, conceptualized it. It wasn't just about coming together, but even how people are thinking about the solution. So, I've attended a couple of conferences before where people are talking about the problem and, fantasizing about the problem, but I felt like there were solutions that I could really hold on to and say, okay, there is hope even in this pandemic, in this world that, we're seeing a lot of inequality. There are solutions that we can take away and, just kind of give you a bit of hope. So for me, it's been a journey. The music was amazing, just hearing and sharing as well. So for me, so thank you to, to Bertha Center, to the Build Up, and everybody else who attended and at least shared their experiences. And I pass it over to Frauke.
Thank you very much. This is Frauke. I'm from a project from Germany, New Undiscovered Narratives in Chemnitz. And for me, it was also the first Build Peace conference ever. And as for all of you, it was the first online digital conference. And I think there was except of this session, it was the first time I experienced some technical problems, and so it was really amazing from this side. And also I had the feeling of being very close and deep in the topics, and people really trusted each other, even so we sometimes couldn't hear and see each other from people coming in from their mobile and cell phones. And so it was really amazing how it works, and I'm looking forward to experience a Build Peace conference live. Build Peace. And thank you very much, Fergus, for you and your team, and Helena and your team, of course, as well, because it must have been a lot of trouble in the last weeks to organize at least 2 conferences at the same time. So thank you very much for your effort and your strength. And I think it worked out. And also I had myself some troubles with this platform in the beginning. I'm very, very satisfied. I could join, I could experience so many impressions from all over the world. And my opinion, there were not so much Europeans in this conference, which was for me the very best. So I had so many impressions and experiences from all over the world. Could learn from India how the COVID is touching there, or from Colombia. I think this was the best setting ever, and I will grab it definitely and make a kitchen talk as well. But also from reporters from the Philippines, from wherever I have been in the last days. Thank you very much for making this opportunity, and and for all of you, stay healthy. And of course, I pass on to Kolavol. And I'm sure I mispronounced it. I'm sorry.
So, Kola.
I'm so overwhelmed, and at the same time, I'm filled with gratitude, and I feel grounded. I feel humbled. I feel privileged. I feel honored. It's such a, even words elude me at the moment. But I guess as much as we could say it's an interesting time we live in, it's also been a learning curve. This is like maybe the 4th online conference I've had to make myself available for in this period. I've had to present my PhD proposal. I've had to attend. I was meant to be in Japan this year, and we also had to improvise around that. I was meant to be in Kenya this year. We had to improvise around that. And as much as I would say I was looking forward to that experience, meeting people, And so that happening physically, I've had to adjust to that happening virtually. And I won't take anything away. There's been new things I've adjusted to. I've had to also step up my tech, education. I only recently started using a smartphone. I know Fergus knows about this. And just adjusting to that, then COVID-19 came in and I had to immediately adjust to okay, getting on webinar and all that. And yeah, let me stop rambling. Thanks to Betha Foundation, thanks to the World Peace Building program, and thanks for just thinking of sounds and words. Thanks for everyone who engaged. And yeah, sometimes you set out the intention and you don't know how people would actually receive it, but having people respond in real time, that actually grounds you and also encourages you to move on. And to all the speakers, the guy from South Chicago yesterday, who spoke about how architecture is just beyond design, but actually could be used as a systemic device to segregate and oppress. And that really, really blew my mind. And recently also, I just finished a book called The Revolution Would Not Be Digitized. Now listening to the comrade who spoke about how how the government of South Africa has taken advantage of the disaster, whatever they implemented, to actually, you almost think, oh, they offering you this platform to make things easy. At the end of the day, they actually, that's mind blowing. So as much as I've been a performer on this platform, I've also been re-educated. I've been reinformed, and I feel like I'm getting out a much more better person. And that's why I started by saying so much gratitude. I'm humbled, I'm grounded, and so much love, blessings. And yeah, I look forward to the next one. Give thanks, many, many blessings, many, many of them blessings. Yeah.
Many blessings, brother, many blessings. Thank you. Thank you for your thoughtfulness and for helping us loosen up and dance Friday night.
Exactly. I think we were so blessed to have you contribute to our mood that day. So it was so special. Yeah. Thank you all for those reflections. I really I'm a little overwhelmed by what these 3 days have been like. It also feels like such an interesting historic moment at which to be sitting together with, connected to all these people around the world. And I don't think I can add much more than what you've all been saying and what people are saying in the chat about the quality and the depth of the conversations that we've been having. It's really, I feel very lucky to be able to connect with so many people at such depth, not just superficially. I think the one takeaway for me, perhaps this year more than ever, I think I said this at the beginning, this is the 7th conference that we organize, and it's really the sense of community. To anyone who is a first-time participant, we give you a very warm welcome to this community. It sticks, so you're stuck with us and we're stuck with you, and we're very happy about that. It's people come back at different times to this group, and I think now that we have this trajectory, it's so clear to me that that is really the space that we are holding, a space of community. And that might just sound like empty words, but I think when you see it year after year, it's very powerful. And perhaps what's most powerful for me this year is that we're seeing that virtually. I honestly didn't know that was really possible. I don't know about you, but I'm a little over virtual events. Like I'm tired. And this felt quite different. And of course, I'm kind of biased, but I still think there's some truth to that. So I really, that's probably been my main takeaway. A couple of people referenced having been to past conferences and things that happened there, and I think because we know now a lot of the people who have been around, it's so interesting to try and map out all those connections. Maybe we should do a systems map. Fergus, a lot there. So with that, let's talk about where this community goes next, huh, Fergus? I think one takeaway that is very personal to me is my friendship with Fergus, which has definitely flourished through this year. And it's also meant both through that friendship, but also, of course, through the institutional partnership and our desire to make this happen in Cape Town, that we are committed to Build Peace 2021 in Cape Town with the Bertha Centre. So do you want to tell us what that might look like and what we're thinking?
I mean,
what we're thinking.
I mean, my response to that is Sanjay. Need to grab some filament. Absolutely, yes. Yeah. So some comments on that. Well, first off, as you all know from our opening remarks, we mentioned how the sort of the intention setting for 2020 had so much to do with Cape Town and with this part of the world. And I tell you, back in February and March, when Elena and I were here in Cape Town and then in Joburg for a short moment, just the short time that Elena and I were discussing this gathering with Bertha Centre, at Bertha Centre's offices and spaces, and at Philippi Village, that really lit up further. And it was very clear that it felt right to be at Philippi Village, which is a very complex and dynamic and strange and at the same time incredibly hopeful place in Cape Town, in really the heart of Cape Town. Not the CBD, not the wealthy CBD, but the heart of Cape Town geographically speaking. And the friendships and recognition of similarity, recognition of care and consideration and co-learning, and definitely the appetite for further co-learning, pressed with the frustration of not being able to play out some of our bolder ambitions for this year, given the current context. I think all of that makes it something quite surprising that we've been able to, as Helena has mentioned, still feel a community and still in some way ground ourselves in Cape Town, especially with Brother M, Ramava, Kola, and Sounds and Words, the Dress of Great Former, and Tana, Lizette, the Stitching Brothers. These connections, they're here, they've lit, and we look forward to welcoming you here, because if you're not from Cape Town, you don't know me. And once you get here, you'll be from here. You'll know the sea, you'll know the wind, you'll know the fan boss. And so we look forward to continuing this journey. And we also look forward to learning from the vast variety of lessons, of inspirations, motivations, and deepening, I think, of this partnering. I think given that this is unconventional in all ways, that there's never been a Build Peace online, but there also hasn't been a Build Peace where the country or hosting partner has continued its partnership for 2 years. And I think what that means is that gives us an opportunity at the Bertha Centre, the systems justice team, Kense, myself, Madisa, Ella, and co, to really deepen with this motivation and this energy from this community, like precisely how we'd like to step forward with Build Up into our partnering for 2021 in Cape Town. And I'm super excited about that, and just really, really thrilled to think that there's a possibility of seeing you all in person next year. I'm guessing around the same time, but that's TBC, you know. But really, thank you all, and we're going to compile a bit of a sort of commemoration, to use Diana's thematic, of this event with Grant and the team, and in that commemoration, we'll add a welcome note and an energetic welcoming and invitation for 2021 that you can share with your own communities, your family, your friends, your colleagues, and your enemies. Thank you, Kola, for them to come and be with us and extend this beautiful, beautiful community that Helena, her team, Michaela, and all of the beautiful build-up team members have curated and nurtured for years with sweat, energy, tears, and incredible joy. So thank you guys for keeping this going, and we are so honored to be part of that journey. Thank you. And with that said, 2021, see you in Cape Town. And then, Frauke, what's going on in 2022?
What is going on at 2022? There weren't any Europeans.
Yeah.
2020, but there are going to be a lot of Europeans in 2022.
Oh, no, I want you. There are enough Europeans in Chemnitz already. No, you are very warm invited to come to build peace in 2022 in our town Chemnitz, which, let's say, is close to Berlin, just 250 kilometers far away, and next to Leipzig, a small town, but a city. Yeah, and I think, Helena, we are going to show you a little video from there, and then I'm going to say some more words.
This is a very special invitation, and we have a very special message to go with it, which I'm hoping is going to work. So this is where we may face. Okay, hang on. How is that? Can somebody tell me whether you're seeing a video?
That's it.
You seeing a video?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, wonderful. Here we go.
Dear Build Peace community all around the globe, on the way to the year 2025, the year for which we have been designated recently as European Capital of Culture, we want to strengthen civil society here in Chemnitz. For this reason, we are zooming in on the makers. The makers who in our eyes could be anyone who is creating something or thinking about something, may it be small or big, and improvise or plan. But it has to be always good for our society. And so these makers, they are promoters of the integration in our urban society. And by sharing democratic values like respect and solidarity and tolerance, we say these are our makers of democracy. And with our program for the European Capital of Culture 2025, we stimulate, stimulating the emergence of a more inclusive community of care, respect, and understanding. So, see the unseen. That is the slogan of our program for the European Capital of Culture. And so we are very delighted, let me say that honestly, and look very much forward to welcome you here in Chemnitz in November 2022, and to have you here with your international community as kind of giving us new impulses and maybe exchanging knowledge as the new makers of democracy here. And so you can work on the topic, the unseen, here in Chemnitz, and maybe give us some insights in your thinking and your results. So we are looking forward to host you here in Chemnitz together with the ASA-FF and our University of Technology. So let me say, stay healthy till 2025, and I will be happy to welcome you here in Chemnitz. Bye-bye. See you.
Yeah, we were very proud that he was finding time to greet all of you and invite all of you, the Mayor of Culture of our city, because it is just 10 days left, but then we were announced European Capital of Culture, and we are very proud of that, and hoping to continue our journey and transforming the city, the society, and the civil society as much as possible. And Build Peace will be one point on that way to become the capital of culture in 2025. So 2020 we are going to host you, hopefully all of you. And I'm not lacking any Europeans, because really, we have enough of them in the city. We need impulses from different countries. So please feel free to come join us there. We would love to have the topic of the unseen. So people's stories who are not told, and maybe some hidden stories. Just find new neighbors, with what we do in our program as well. We have a strong partner from the university, and I'm sure it's going to be very interesting for all of you, and hopefully with the same spirit we have in South Africa. Yeah, do you want to hear more, or is it just yeah? I'm not sure. How is this going?
Why don't you tell us a little bit about Chemnitz and what's going on there? What's the unseen in Chemnitz?
Yeah, we have 250,000 inhabitants, so it's really not a big city. And it is in the former GDR, so it is a former socialist town and city, which was renamed in 1990 because for a long time, for 40 years, it was named after the philosopher and the biggest communist you've ever heard of, Karl Marx. So it was Karl Marx City until 1990. Also, the guy was never there and has no connection, but Chemnitz was one, or Karl Marx City was one of the really famous models for a socialist town. There's a lot of industry was there. And in 1919, there was a big, of course, for whole of Germany, there was a big change, as many cities are going through. If there's a political change, and the wall fell down, and there was a huge emigration from the city, like fourth of the city emigrated to western part of Germany. So the city was lacking a lot of energy, young people, and there were many, and still there are many empty spaces, which is for artists, it's a perfect, and for peace, it should be a very interesting space. But for living, of course, to have so much brownfield is not good for living. So there's a big frustration in the city because many people left, and that there was a change that many people believed in national thinking, and it was also the town and the region was home for the National Socialist Underground. We are also famous for that and known for that, and we have to face our history a lot and reflect it and change it to something positive. But we are also not only the city of riots in 2018, but we are also the city of We Are More, for those 60,000 people who went to a concert and to engage against racism and anti-Semitism. So this is also the Chemnitz, and this is also the region, which makes it very difficult, but also very interesting to work on. And I hope this is interesting for you to come to reflect on other stories, to exchange with the people, because we really want to get to know you, or to introduce the city to you, but also on the other side, to make you feel how it is to be in our city. So we invite you to homes, to get at private places to sleep, and to have a host who is showing you the city and around. This is future plans, but we are working on that, and would be lovely to have you in our town and to tell you more and show more to you how we deal with cultural measures, with all the problems we are facing.
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you for joining us here to share all of that. It's so much to see in the unseen of Chemnitz. I'm really, really excited. and also really grateful for the partnership with you at SIFF to make this happen. So yeah, that's Build Peace 2021 and 2022, a journey, a community journey for at least the next 2 years, and I'm sure there will be more that will emerge. And so with that, I think I'm going to hand back to the Captain of Emergence, Fergus, to wrap us up. Thank you for joining us for this session, Fergus.
I would say see you next year, but just 50 minutes ago, Sanjay arranged a meetup in the next week with a collection of the participants in the System Justice Lab and conference session. So these things, they have their own circles, their own ripple effects, and that I think that brings a real smile to the heart. To be able to connect and to keep some of the conversation that needs to ground itself in our relationships, in our relating, in our sharing, in our celebration of one another. And so I look forward to maintaining many of these connections, and not just to invite you to 2021 in Cape Town, but really to extend my friendship to all of you in the coming months, in the coming days. It's difficult for all of us, and I've definitely felt this year that sometimes the best way to get more energy is to give more energy out to people you care for, people you are building friendships with. And so yeah, I'm using these last minutes to extend an invitation to all of you on this call to reach out to me, to reach out to us, to reach out to Bertha Center, to reach out to your family, your friends in Cape Town. And I look forward to that. And with that, I just want to give one more moment of deepest gratitude to everybody on this call, to everybody over this week, and to recognize that our attention is as Emmanuel would say yesterday, being aware is being alive. So stay aware, stay attentive, and stay in love with where you are, who you are, and what you are creating in the world, because that is where the present is, and that is where our realm of creation, our beautiful place, is created. So stay beautiful, everybody, and go take these ripples of beauty into your own places, your own worlds, and make this place beautiful together. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.